Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Yesterday, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, stated that the Child Rights Act has been domesticated in all 36 states and the FCT, and that a review is currently underway. But is that truly the reality? Now, between February and August of 2024, over 43,000 cases of child rights violations were recorded across the country. In more than half of these cases where parents were involved with primarily violators, child abandonment, sexual abuse and physical violence remain widespread, and the support system for victims practically non-existent. So I ask, is the Child Rights Act genuinely protecting Nigeria's children, or has it become just another political trophy, a law celebrated in the headlines, but ignored in homes, schools, and on the streets? It's another favorite episode of your favorite primetime show. My name is Mercy Eboko. Now, today we'll be discussing whether the Child Rights Act is just a political trophy. And our guest is going to be James Ibor, Principal Counsel at the Basic Right Council. Remember that Ways is all about you. You are the why in the ways. So join the conversation daily and add your voice. All you need to do is head over to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Hit the subscribe button, like, share, and invite your friends to join the show now. I'd like to hear from you when the phone lines are open, so just do well to be part of the conversation. But as always, I'd like you to ponder on the quote for today. Our children are not just statistics. They are the heart of our nation. This is according to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We'll delve into this much later, but first off, I need to go on a quick break, and when I return, I'll let you into what is my news interest for today. Please stay with us.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we'll connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
You're watching what are you saying, #ways, and what's in the news. That's the segment we're about to delve into now. Usually I'll just let you into a few stories that caught my attention. Now, first off, it's another building collapse. It has become a recurring decimal, if you like to say, in our country, not just in Lagos State, different parts of the state, where every other time we experience building collapse. And now this is very sad. When this happens, people lose their lives, property is gone, but then again, who is responsible for all of this? So yes, there's so much panic that happened, at Ikorodu, Lagos State. An uncompleted two-story building collapsed, leaving many feared trapped beneath the rubble. 5 victims have been rescued alive, and the exact number of people still trapped remains unknown. I think that the rescue operation is still ongoing. With emergency teams, you can actually see that working and trying to, salvage the situation. The cause of the collapse has not also been officially determined. But again, every other time buildings are collapsing. I'm not saying that buildings will collapse in other parts of the country, but it's like it's too much. What are we not doing right? Why are we not getting it right? That's what it is. We'll just move away from that because there's such a sad incident and sad story, but every other time is what we have to face, is what we've been dealing with as a people. Another story that caught my attention is the apology. I mean, I woke up to that particular one. Although, the other story had broken as of yesterday, but the one that caught my attention this morning was the apology. And then there's a follow-up to why the apology is actually being put out. So Speed Darlington, as he's popularly known, some people call him Ikbe, or Akbi, I really don't know if that's how it's pronounced, has apologized to his fans following the backlash from a viral video which he appeared to had admitted to sleeping with a 15-year-old child. I wouldn't say a girl, is a child, because the Constitution would say that you're a child until you turn 18. And in the original footage, which really it's generated a widespread condemnation on social media. The artist, came up to say, I saw that. And he said, well, that it was just a stunt. It was just another dramatizing, and it was just for content. As an artist, he has to put up all of that. There's a lot, to promote his songs and what have you. But a lot of Nigerians have really condemned this action. A lot of Nigerians have said that this is totally unacceptable because, again, you want to ask yourself, is he really just a prank? Is he or just another unsaying or another undoing? Because we already know that Speed Darlington has a pattern where he goes online and rants about things that happens with him. Now, to just also shock you, there's a video that also surfaced from 2022, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure we have that video, but it was also a similar case where a mother was accusing him of rape and trying to predate her 16-year-old daughter. But it is also important, we heard that the Lagos State government has also tipped relevant agencies, and investigation might be on the way. But we are hoping that he should be called for questioning, and investigation should be carried out, and he should be made to face the law if found guilty. Okay. The story is the Nigeria's debt burden from 1999 and 2025. Let's run that slide. Now, despite the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration claimed that the removal of subsidy has saved Nigeria an estimated 7.5 billion yearly, the federal government is now seeking an approval from the National Assembly to borrow an additional $24 billion. I need to really emphasize that amount. It's a move that will push the nation's total debt stock to a staggering 182 trillion from the current debt profile, which is 144 trillion. Now, the presidency, through the media advisor, was actually tracking the achievement of the current administration and said that 7.5 billion is saved, from fuel subsidy removal. And so you ask yourself, we are saving 7.5 billion, why are we still borrowing? It's like we're making so much money, we're saving. What's the essence of all of this borrowing? So you look at that, that's what you see, what the total budget now is for us as a country. And according to that data or the graphics that you can see, each Nigerian is owing about 800 million, approximately almost 900 million. So it's like 800 plus something. So you can just call it 850 million. That's what, almost 1 million. So all of us were just owing. That's the debt each Nigeria owes. Anyways, we'll move away from that. That's how much we can take on what's in the news. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll just head straight to the conversation for today. We're looking at the Child Right Act, and we're going to just have a lot of conversation around it. Despite claims that it's been domesticated across different states, but then again, there's still widespread of abuse. And yesterday was Children's Day. Would have further conversation, but in the meantime, let's take a break.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light for my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we will analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Hashtag what are you saying? Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. Now, the Child Right Act was passed into law in 2003 by the federal government of Nigeria to domesticate the United Nations Convention on the Right of the Child. Now, it sets out the rights and responsibilities of children and provides for care and protection of all children under the age of 18. Joining us to shed more light on these is James Ibor, a legal practitioner, also a principal counsel of the Basic Right Council Initiative. Thank you so much, James Ibor, for joining me today.
Merci beaucoup for having me.
All right, so let's start the conversation on this note. Yesterday, on your social media, on Facebook to be precise, you actually put out a post in celebration of Children's Day to say that Nigeria is still the worst place to be born and grow up as a child. So that's the first line I'm taking. Now, the Minister for Women Affairs also said yesterday that it is such an exciting time to be a Nigerian child. So I'm a bit confused. Whose report should we believe?
I didn't get that. My internet had issues.
So yesterday was Children's Day celebration. And in a way to celebrate the child, you took to your social media platform, to be very precise, your Facebook. And the first line says, Nigeria is still the worst place to be born and grow up as a child. That's what you said. And I'm wondering why you said that. Because the Minister for Women Affairs yesterday also went on national television to say it is such an exciting time to be a Nigerian child. So my question is, whose report should we believe? Why did you say it's Nigeria is still the worst place to raise a child, to be born and to grow up?
In 30 minutes, please. Please.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, my internet is giving me some issues.
Oh, yeah, this is Nigeria, some people would say. Okay, so but can you hear us now? Or can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes.
Did you get my question? Do you want me to go over the question again?
Please go over it again, please.
Yesterday was Children's Day. And in a way to celebrate Children's Day, you went on your social media to post, especially, Facebook to be very precise. And you said on Facebook that Nigeria is still the worst place to be born and to raise a child. I'm paraphrasing now. And then the Minister for Women Affairs also said yesterday on national television that it's such an exciting time to be a Nigerian child. Whose report should I believe?
I don't know. Was she? I think she was. I listened to that interview. Initially, when I heard, I thought she was speaking from New York. But she was actually speaking from Nigeria. I think she was just playing politics with the whole issue of celebration. Yesterday, we saw even the Senate president conducted children around the National Assembly. Some House Assembly made speakers, gave their seats to children and all that show. I think we have to stop paying lip service to issues of child protection or child safeguarding. And inspired by the quote by the president, which you showed earlier, that children are the heartbeat of the nation. Mr. President is very correct. And I will only wish that we will actually demonstrate or practically implement that his quote. His quote is true. Children are actually the heartbeat of the nation, but the heart of the Nigerian nation is sick. And how do you know this? Nigeria has the highest number of out-of-school children. That data was published by UNICEF in May 2004. In May 2024, sorry. And the Nigerian state has not disputed that data. It is, the mortality rate is still one of the highest in the whole world. So Nigeria, being given birth to in Nigeria and growing up is one of the worst things that can happen to any child all over the world. The only countries that can be compared to us are countries like Afghanistan. Imagine Afghanistan, Mali, Somalia. Even Cameroon is better. So there was actually nothing to celebrate. I will encourage the Minister of Women Affairs to dust the Child Rights Law 2023, 2003. 2003. That law, yes, review is long overdue, but have we even implemented 20% of the content of the Child Rights Law 2003? The answer is no. Implementation is still around 5%. Not even in FCT. How many family courts sitting with assessors do we have in FCT where she was speaking from? So I think we have to stop paying lip service to the welfare of children and get to work to implement our laws. We have the VAP law that protects children. We have the Anti-Trafficking Act. We have even the Child Rights Act 2003. How well have we implemented these laws? Do children have access to health care? Just check the mortality rate. If a woman is pregnant and there is labor, there is no ambulance services to rush that woman to any facility. Recently, I was in the teaching hospital in Calabar, and the child died because they were struggling to connect oxygen. Many children die of malaria. How many children are dying of malaria every day in Nigeria? And we are busy distributing mosquito nets, which doesn't solve the problem. What are we doing to promote vaccines? Are they available to protect children? So these are the issues we should be talking about, not saying that what have they achieved? There's actually nothing to celebrate. Most of our children are out of school and we are celebrating. Imagine the population of children out of school. A lot of them are being groomed to do cybercrime. And the politicians' children, like I said also in my post, they are grooming them to succeed them as politicians. That is all we do. everybody to himself. If you look at the policies and our laws, beautiful policies and laws, implementation zero. Implementation is zero. The Universal Basic Education Act makes it mandatory for every child of school age to be in school. How true is this statement? And for the ones in public schools, those public schools are not learning rooms. They are not learning rooms. Even in FCT, I visited a school in FCT and I was shocked that in the 21st century, children are still learning in that kind of environment.
All right. So I also like to find out, from you as well, because I know that your organization, the Basic Rights Council Initiative, at the heart of it has been protecting the rights of, children and also promoting their rights, protection of children and promoting the rights of children. Do you think that the Child Rights Act of 2003 has been domesticated across the 36 states and the FCT, just as the minister stated?
First, it has always been my opinion that the Child Rights Act 2003 is enforceable in the 36 states of Nigeria because it was made by the National Assembly. Yes, I'm aware that the National Assembly makes laws for FCT. But the Child Rights Act, where National Assembly make laws for FCT, the law itself restricts its jurisdiction to FCT. That was not the case in the Child Rights Act. Yes, some people will argue that it is under the concurrent legislative list. Yes, because the National Assembly also legislates in matters under the concurrent legislative list. So the first point is that the Child Rights Act 2003 is enforceable in the 36 states of Nigeria, whether or not you adapt it or not. So I don't want to use the word domestication because it is only international treaty.
Again, I'm also very concerned if we have, if you say that the law is enforceable, because if you look at it, there seems to be a widespread of abuse of children. I mean, there's a recent...
Have they implemented it?
Oh, okay.
How well have they? How many states have functional family courts as established by the Child Rights Act 2003 and the various child rights laws? And let me also tell you, the only thing you see around implementation of the Child Rights Act and the Child Rights Law of the state are efforts of development partners. How functional are the various ministries of women affairs or ministries of social welfare across the country? Social services in Nigeria is like privilege. Social services is actually a right.
James Ibor, are you there?
Or their rights safeguarded in Nigeria? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I think that we might just be having a little bit of some break, like pauses from your end. So at some point, I think that you were off. We're just losing connection with you. But I can hear you now. Go ahead with your thoughts.
All right. I'm saying that I have always been of the opinion that the Child Rights Act is enforceable in the 36 states of Nigeria, including the FCT. Some people will argue that though it's a law made by the National Assembly, it's only restricted to FCT. I say no, because for laws that are restricted only to FCT, the laws themselves say so. And others will argue that it is under the concurrent legislative list. And I want to also say the National Assembly legislates on matters under the concurrent legislative list. So the Child Rights Act is a product of the National Assembly, and there is nothing in the law itself that restricts its implementation to FCT. So whether or not the law is adopted in a state, it is enforceable in that state, in all the states, including the FCT. Now, for those who have adopted the law in the different states, How well have they implemented their laws? I said in Nigeria, social welfare services are almost non-existent because most of the ministries of women affairs and ministries of social welfare across the country are designed to promote the governor's wives project. The close work. Nigeria is not a place where you call social services and actions are taken. How many ministries of women affairs or social services are taking children from abusive parents and government are taking responsibility for the welfare of those children? I don't think any government agency, any minister of women affairs or social welfare has ever done that. There is almost non-existence of social services in Nigeria. Yet, the Child Rights Law 2003 extensively provides for the duties of ministries of women affairs or ministries of social welfare, as the case may be, depending on the state. How well have we implemented these laws? Like we say now, during school, you see children hawking, even in Abuja, in FCT, and yet we have the Child Rights Act that prohibits child labor or hawking. We have children being used to beg, even in FCT. And yet we have ministries of women affairs in both in FCT, and we have the ministry where the minister who spoke and with his head office in Abuja. So let's stop paying lip service to all these things. We don't actually, there is no political will to implement our laws. Check the budget. What is the budget for Ministry of Women Affairs? And how does it trickle down to health services for children, education for children? That is how you know.
So, James Ibor, what can we do at this point in time? Do you think that, because I mean, rightly you have mentioned over and over again in the conversation that the implementation of these laws that we have seem to be a problem, or is the problem, not seem to be, it's the problem. Because the laws are there, the implementation seem to be non-existent. And then again, on the part of government, the agencies of government saddled with the responsibility of ensuring the protection of these children, they've also failed, you know, at their responsibility. Now, where does this leave, you know, the children, the Nigerian child? Where does this leave them? And what can we do, you know, to salvage the situation? Because it's not enough for the statement and the quote by the president and all of this commitment. What can we do as stakeholders, as parents involved? Because there are different levels of abuse. So I'll just leave you to take it up from this point.
Great. What is the budget of the Ministry of the Ministry of Women Affairs at the national level and in the various states? Is this budget in line with the provisions of the Child Rights Law in the state and the Child Rights Act in at the national level? So let's break it down. Let's start with even the FCT. Do we have correctional facilities to rehabilitate children in conflict with the law? We don't have them, even in FCT. And that explains why children oftentimes are detained, even in police and other detention facilities, with adults. That in itself is a violation of their fundamental rights, which the Child Rights Act 2003 seek to protect or safeguard. So we have to start by looking at the provisions of the law. The law has made provisions for correctional facility and rehabilitation facilities in the FCT. Let the government provide them. We don't have to go do march past and take children around the National Assembly. We should provide correctional facility. We should provide rehabilitation facility. We should ensure every child of school age is in school. That is what the Universal Basic Education Act says. It is their fundamental right, guaranteed by not just the Constitution, by the Universal Basic Education Act, and emphasized by the Child Rights Law 2003. Now, it's not enough to compare the children or parents to put their children in school. How safe are these schools? Most children, a lot of children have been abducted from schools. We have our security agencies, most of them protecting those who can employ private security. So this civil defense police officers should be protecting children in school so that children will be encouraged to go to school. Not protecting political elites who can, or business people who can employ private security. Now, how well equipped? One of the reasons why a lot of people failed the last JAMB is because how many children attended schools where computers are used?
True.
And in some schools where they flash or they advertise computers, how functional? Because they don't even have power to update, to use those computers. For the very few schools, especially the elite schools that have computers, enter any school, any public school in Abuja, I can bet you won't see any functional computer. And if you see, it's outdated, it's not functional, it's just there as a monument. How many of these schools, these days, even in FCT, schools are provided, are approved, and become functional without playgrounds against the provisions of the Child Rights Act? So, because the children have the right to play. If you call the FCT Ministry of Women Affairs after 4 o'clock, they will say, we have closed, but the child is in danger. There is no structure, no system, no facility to intervene 24 hours, even in FCT. So these are the issues. We have to address the issue of budgeting and budget releases and hold public officers accountable when they fail to perform their duties.
All right, let's move away from that now and look at the issue of rape. If we look at some statistics and survey, a study in Rivers State had found that 36.7% of secondary school students had experienced child sexual abuse, and most times with girls being 2.7 times more likely to be victim than the boys. And I know that, if you look at different parts, of the country, the issue of rape seems to be on the high. Okay, I'm being told that we've lost connection with James Ibor. We'll just quickly take a break, and when we return, we'll continue the conversation right here. Please stay with us.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
You're watching Ways, hashtag what are you saying right here. And we've just been talking about the Child Right Act in the spirit of the celebration of Children's Day. There's a lot that has been said as regards the celebration yesterday, event that marked the celebration of Children's Day. A lot of commitment on the part of the government, different strata from the federal government to the state government. But we're looking at the reality, whether their implementation to protect the rights of children in Nigeria. The Nigerian child really the future of Nigeria? Is there hope for the Nigerian child? Is Nigeria the place that a child should be born and should grow up in? So these are some of the questions that we're begging to get answers. James Ibor is right here. His organization has been doing a fantastic job promoting and protecting the rights of Nigerian children. James Ibor, once again, thank you for joining me. But I'd like to ask you, there's a prevalence, the rate at which, children are being sexually abused is on the high. And I was reading out statistics from a survey that was done in Rivers State that 36.7% of secondary school students had experienced sexual abuse. Every day in and out, as at this morning, there was also a report of a 4-year-old child that was raped and molested by an adult. I don't have, the exact facts, whether it's the father or the guardian or the parent. But, the case of rape amongst children seem to be on the high, despite the fact that we have these laws to protect the children. So where does the problem lie? Is it that those who protect these children, guardians or parents, do not understand what the law says, or they do not understand their role in protecting the children? I just need you to, just shed more light on this.
But it is the duty of government to strengthen its institutions to respond to the provisions of these laws and protect children. Yes, so it will be difficult. You can preach it tomorrow, and the crime against children will continue. The only way we can reduce it or even eradicate it is by strengthening our prevention mechanisms and response. Response in the sense so it can deter others. For instance, how many of these cases that are reported are investigated? Many of these cases, you just read out the statistics because those are the cases that have been reported. Many of these cases go unreported because of poor education and the fact that stigma, a lot of people avoid stigma, and because a lot of people get stigmatized when they report these cases because of lack of education. A lot of people, when you report cases of sexual assault, how do security agencies respond to them? For those who manage to report, in Nigeria, the complainant will have to fund investigation. That is the reality. And most of the complainants are poor. They don't have the resources to fund investigation. Or why should even a complainant fund investigation? Because in our Evidence Act, if you fund the investigation, it means you determine the result. The person who pays the piper detects the tool. And investigation is costly. So most of these cases go unreported because the people have no resources to fund the investigation. And for those that are reported, are never investigated. And for those that are investigated, never prosecuted. So the few that gets to court, a lot of them fail because investigation was not properly done. Because for you to convict for a sexual offense, the law has not changed. You must prove corroboration. It means there must be an eyewitness who support your story. It's not enough for a child to say that I was raped. And some of these children, depending on their level of vulnerability, cannot even say they were raped. So you need scientific corroboration. And when I talk about scientific corroboration, I mean what supports what the child said. You need medical evidence or sometimes forensic evidence like semen analysis, fingerprints, and all that, proper medical examination of the child to corroborate the information or the child's information that he or she has been raped. And how well trained are police officers or law enforcement agencies to get this evidence? We don't even have forensic labs. We don't have forensic labs to quickly analyze semen or critically look at the clothing of a child or that of the perpetrator and pick evidence that will support prosecution. And do we have safe spaces funded by government, not by organizations that have a project for 2 years, 3 years, thereafter they close shop? I mean, a facility with sustainable government funding to keep children safe, or when you remove a child who is being abused by the parents or the guardian to a safe space and that child is properly taken care of. These are all the things that go to frustrate the prosecution of sexual offenses in Nigeria, especially where children are victims or survivors.
Okay, we'll just quickly, if you're tuned in and you're watching right now, and it's okay to be part of the conversation, we'd like you to join this conversation. Send an SMS or WhatsApp to the number 081 80384663, 081 80384663, and the phone lines also are open. You can call as well. Let's hear your thoughts. 070-2500-77 and 49 or 0701-2424 and 20. I take that again, 070-1424 and 20. The numbers to call to be part of the conversation. Let's hear your thoughts. What do you think about, the rights that protects the children, the laws? Do you think that, they're enough? Do you think that we need to do more? What exactly do you think that we need to do, to move forward? But I want us, because we're going to close this conversation down, time is not on our side. My question now is, we have talked about the role of the government in all of this, to strengthen the laws, to ensure implementation, to also, in terms of budgets and allocation, to make sure that, resources are made available and they're also released. But let's talk to, you and I and every other person, parents, guardians, teachers, and every other person. What should be the role? What role should we take on in protecting the rights of the children in Nigeria?
Yes, sufficiently. Like I said, it is a primary duty of government to protect lives and property, and children's life matter. It is their obligation under the law. I do not have any obligation under the law to protect children other than reporting if I find myself, like in the Child Rights Law of Controversy 2023, it makes it mandatory to report abuse. So under our laws, we have a duty to report abuse. So using this opportunity to call on Nigeria that, look, we have a duty to report abuse. You see, it can be very frustrating when you report abuse to the police and the child is further abused. We've had cases where children are taken into so-called protective custody and they are further abused. So it can be very traumatizing. The reason why I would prefer to start first with the government setting up a system, and where a system that responds or prevents abuse. And if our response time is reduced and response is effective, for instance, do we have a model family court even in the FCT to deal with cases of children in conflict with the law and children in contact with the law? A lot of trainings, organized and refresher trainings, organized for our law enforcement agents or even for members of the judiciary. are donor funding or partners who do that at their own time and will, with so many other things they want to achieve. But the government itself has to incorporate training and refresher training in budget and implement it. So while we have a duty as citizens to report, to talk about it, to call on government, which we are doing, and I must commend your TV station for giving us the platform to talk about these issues. Government have the primary duty, because if you look at the Section 1 of the Child Rights Act 2003, clearly says the best interest of the child should be of paramount consideration.
But
so in everything we do in Nigeria, how paramount is the interest of children? If you are talking about health, how paramount is the interest of children in our health planning and policy or implementation of health programs? In education, how paramount are the interests of children? Or we just feel, yeah, children, we just talk about them because some people want us to talk about, like the display I saw in the National Assembly. I think the ministry, Ireti's ministry, oversighting Ministry of Women Affairs, should do more by critically analyzing the provisions of the Child Rights Law and see how well it has been implemented by the Ministry of Women Affairs. Those are the things we should be talking about. I had expected.
No, but again, so I think I have like two questions to ask you, and I hope the time will be on our side. Now, where is the duty of care? Does the law also provide or make provision for, you know, it's like you owe, there's a duty of care to children. Where does that lie? Should that also not be the responsibility of, you know, parents, guardians, teachers?
Yes. It's very clear in the law, but when a parent or guardian fails, what happens? The government also failed to hold the parent accountable. That is the problem. Parents will always fail. The government must not fail to protect children whose parents or guardians have failed them.
Okay. Now, there's a case, you know, there's an incident, I'd say. I know that this is not a court of law, and we're not trying to, you know, make a case for this, but I'd like to share your thoughts. A certain, you know, artist, he goes by the name Speed Darlington, and went on social media, on Instagram to be very precise, if I'm not mistaken, it was a live video where he was ranting and was saying so much up to the point that he admitted to having carnal knowledge of a 15-year-old and all of the experiences that transpired, and how he even gave the child, you know, 2,000 naira. That has also gotten a lot of Nigerians, because you've said that we owe the responsibility of reporting. And so everyone is reporting. The Lagos state government has been notified, relevant bodies and all of that, and they say they are going to investigate. In this case now, do you think that there will be any form of accountability? Do you think that justice will be, you know, will be meted? Do you think that the law will take its course when you look at, you know, the process of investigating and all of the things that are required to actually to show that there's an evidence that this actually happened? He's actually come out to claim that, yes, he had the carnal knowledge of a child, although there seemed to be a backtracking from his side. But what do you think about this situation?
Yes, legally speaking, it is condemnable, morally speaking, and I'm happy the way Lagos state government has responded to such comments. I'm happy he even made the confession he has to be investigated, because it's not enough for you to charge him to court for those comments. Allegations of rape is a felony, and proof must be beyond reasonable doubt. So the security agencies and the government of Lagos State, they are already investigating it, and we await the outcome of that investigation, especially given the fact that the same artist has been accused some years ago by a parent of sexually molesting the child. So I think this is the time to reopen that investigation. The good thing is that, unlike the Criminal Code Law of Lagos State or the Criminal Code Act, the Child Rights Law of Lagos State and even the Child Rights Act, offenses under these laws are not statute barred. So even if they are committed 10 or 20 years ago, they can be investigated and prosecuted. So we await the outcome of the investigation. I want to use the opportunity to encourage the Lagos State government to step up the investigation and ensure that the result of this investigation is published. And if he's found culpable or wanting, he has to be prosecuted.
All right. What would be your last words as we close the conversation down tonight?
Back to Mr. President, and his very beautiful quote, that heartbeat of the Nigerian state is sick. In fact, it is in ICU. We need not just to provide funds to budget for every child in Nigeria. We have to ensure that those funds are released to our institutions. We have to strengthen our systems and institutions at the Ministry of Women Affairs to respond to cases of violence against children.
All right, James Ibor, thank you so much for joining me tonight to have this conversation. It's been quite insightful, and we're hoping that the relevant quarters, especially the government at different levels, would wake up to her responsibility. The state governments across the 36 states, including the FCT, the presidency, and everyone, our lawmakers, all hands will be on deck to protect the Nigerian child, the heartbeat of Nigeria. Once again, thank you so much. And thank you to your organization for all that you do. We really applaud you.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
All right, then. And to you that tuned in, thank you as well. We hope you had a great time. It's been an amazing conversation from 8 o'clock up until this moment. We like that you head straight to our YouTube channel because you have to continue the conversation. It can't just end here. So it's at Official Upgrade TV, and you can interact further with us. Drop a comment, and most importantly, follow us on all of our social media platforms and engage. Now, remember to like, share, and comment, and invite your friends and family to watch also and follow us. If you miss our quote for today, this is what he says, that our children are not just statistics, and they are the heart of our nation. This is according to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Well, James Ibor has said that the heartbeat of this nation, the children, they're already in the ICU, and they are sick, and something has to be done. I'll see you tomorrow, all things being equal. Enjoy the rest of your evening. My name is Messi Abokpo.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population, and with little or no meaningful engagement, leaves a ticking time bomb on our hands. We are a blessed continent with great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Hey guys, it's Oluchi for Raise Breakfast. Thanks for always tuning in. Our research has shown that you're probably not subscribed to our channel. What are you waiting for? Make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you never miss out on our latest content and stay in the loop with all things Ways. If the channel grows, it means more great content for you guys. So hit that subscribe button now.